Okay, so right now the ball hits different edges of the canvas and it bounces off. But what I want to happen is that if I manage to position my paddle in a way that the ball hits the paddle, I want it to get bounce off the edge of the paddle. But right now it looks as if it goes in the paddle and hits the bottom of the canvas, which is very weird. So in order to do that, we need to be implementing a method so that we can recognize two different objects have collided with one another. There is some sort of like a collision detection between them. Now, these two objects, the paddle and the ball, essentially they're two blocks. And each block is just like a rectangle, right? So we need to have a strategy to detect if two rectangles overlap. And that's a very common strategy. So like if this is a rectangle and here's another rectangle, if there is an area and it's sort of an intersection between them, you would say there's somewhat an overlap between them. So I'm going to add an operation to my block class. Let's come here and add this method. So I called it intersects. Other is supposed to be another instance of block, right? And what this operation, what this method does is that it checks whether this rectangle or this block and the other overlap on both axes. If one rectangle is entirely to the left, right, above or below the other one, at least one of these four conditions will be false and there's no intersection. Right, so that's the idea here. Now let's go and so before we go, let's just recognize that all of these other classes now going to inherit this operation, right? Because like block is at the top of the hierarchy of our types. All right, now let's go to like the ball class. And so what I want to create here, I'm going to call it, let's call it collides. And so I'm going to say if it collides with, let's call it other for like another sprite, another block, whatever this other object is. And I say if this dot intersects with the other. Then what is it that I want to do? I basically want to do something like this, like reverse the vertical direction. Now this behavior is a little too tightly coupled to the behavior that I want between a ball and a paddle colliding with one another. Right, later on when we create bricks, we're gonna use the same ideas but use it to sort of like destruct the bricks. But right now this is good when like it's the same behavior as the one that we hit the bottom of the canvas, right? So when we hit the paddle, we want it to bounce off on the y direction. So I'm gonna add this here, and then what I will do is I'll go to the main, and in my game loop I sort of wire all of it together. So here I'm gonna say ball dot collides and I give it the paddle. Okay, now let's take a look at what it does. So first I'm gonna let it bounce off the edge of the canvas. Now I'm gonna try to hit it. You see that? When it hits the paddle, it bounces off the paddle. And we're getting closer and closer to the behavior of the game.